saja tim pertama yang lolos ke babak playoff RRQ melawan Dewa United Esport. Dan pastinya hari ini bisa menjadi penentuan nasib karena akan ada dua tim terbawah yang sayang sekali hari ini akan bisa saja tidak melaju ke babak playoff. Namun sebelum kita masuk ke dalam match pembuka di hari ketiga hari ini, sudah bersama Lisa pastinya di sini, langsung saja kita undang pro player dari RRQ, ada Chen. Halo Chen, apa kabarnya hari ini?
Baik.
Baik, luar biasa ya. Chen, kita ngelihat kamu kemarin ping test waktu di match melawan AE. Nah, kira-kira kamu kapan akan dimainkan sih?
Kalau aku udah ready, kalau abang suruh main ya main.
Kalau abang suruh main, pokoknya siap ya. Oke, dengar-dengar kamu ini juga ABX ya katanya?
Iya, ABX.
Anak buah Shin ya?
Iya.
Oke, sebagai orang yang kamu mungkin secara langsung atau gak langsung berjasa banget nih buat kamu, mungkin ada yang mau disampaikan gak sih buat Shin?
Buat Bang Sin, pertama ya terima kasih ya, karena mau secara gak langsung dia yang merekomenin aku ke RRQ kan. Jadi ya makasih lah buat Bang Sin.
Jadi pasti gak bakal ngecewain ya?
Ya, gak bakal.
Oke, kita lihat ya Bang Shin, apakah rekomendasi kamu benar-benar luar biasa nih. Dan pastinya sebelum kita masuk ke match pembuka ini, ada yang mau disampaikan gak sih buat Dewa United Esport?
Buat Dewa, kasih permainan yang seru aja.
Kasih permainan yang seru aja. Dan kita lihat ya nanti kamu akan bermain atau tidak. Dan pastinya untuk para Kingdom, jangan lupa dukung tim kesayangan kalian. Dan untuk anak Dewa, kita akan melihat apakah di match penentuan kali ini Dewa bisa mendapatkan poin. Dan kita akan lemparkan ke Bude Clara Monster. Silakan Bude, take it over.
Dan masuklah kita ke dalam hari terakhir di minggu ke-8, di mana kita akan melihat pertempuran tiada akhir bagi tim-tim yang penuh pengharapan. Kita bisa melihat bahwa 3 slot babak playoff sudah didapatkan oleh 3 tim. Namun masih ada 3 slot lagi nih yang masih diperjuangkan dari tim-tim yang benar-benar ingin memberikan segalanya. Dan Bude ingin mengucapkan selamat datang di MPL Indonesia Season 15. Semuanya penuh pengharapan, semuanya tentu harap-harap cemas untuk menyaksikan tim mereka masuk ke dalam babak playoff. Sudah memasuki detik-detik akhir, memasuki titik darah penghabisan. Dan kalau kita mengingat dari minggu pertama banyak sekali yang telah terjadi. Hingga pada akhirnya di minggu ke-8 ini, di akhir hari ini, kita akan mungkin bisa saja melihat ada tim yang masuk ke dalam upper bracket. Upper bracket menjadi salah satu yang diperjuangkan bagi tim-tim yang sedang di papan atas. Kita akan melihat bagaimana sih 9 tim keadaannya untuk minggu yang ke-8. Inilah dia. Dan kalau kita bahas bareng-bareng, ternyata ada yang berbeda. Kingdom sudah sadar karena RRQ mereka sudah mendapatkan upper bracket. Menjadi tim bukan hanya yang pertama masuk ke dalam babak playoff, mereka juga mendapatkan tim pertama yang mendapatkan upper bracket. Karena kalau kita lihat dari tim-tim yang bisa mengejar hanya Bigetron dan Geekfam, namun sisa match mereka pun tidak bisa untuk hanya salah satu saja yang bisa mencapai 11 match point. Karena pada minggu terakhir Bigetron dan juga Geekfam akan bertemu satu sama lain, sehingga otomatis apapun yang terjadi RRQ Hoshi akan di upper bracket. Namun bukan hanya upper bracket saja yang bisa didapatkan oleh tim RRQ. Jika hari ini RRQ menang, otomatis RRQ akan menjadi juara dari regular season. Tentunya banyak sekali title yang ingin didapatkan. Satu title terakhir yaitu juara upper bracket. Karena benar-benar itu akan membuktikan diri bahwa RRQ terus solid dan terus konsisten sepanjang regular season. Dan kalau ngebahas tentang Bigetron dan Geekfam, ini menjadi salah satu kontender yang akan menemani tim RRQ di upper bracket. Sementara kalau dari Alter Ego, tim Liget Onyx dan juga EVOS bersama Dewa United, mereka sama-sama masih punya peluang untuk masuk ke dalam babak playoff. Hanya saja nyawa Dewa terakhir adalah di match ini. Jika mereka kalah di match ini, berarti sudah tidak ada asa lagi untuk melaju ke babak playoff. Tiada harapan dan mereka harus menutup mimpi mereka untuk menjadi sang juara di season 15. Dan kalau ngebahas tentang EVOS, Onyx, Team Liquid dan juga Alter Ego, mereka masih sama-sama bisa saling menyalip satu sama lain. Kita nggak akan tahu apa yang akan terjadi nantinya di minggu yang ke-9. Dan bahkan hari ini bisa menjadi penentu bagaimana tim-tim akan berjuang untuk memperebutkan 3 slot terakhir. Dan ngebahas tentang match win yang begitu dekat, kita melihat EVOS masih tertinggal cukup jauh. Namun kalau diingat-ingat sisa match dari tim-tim ini masih bisa saling membolak-balikan keadaan. Semuanya bisa terjadi. Dan mungkin semuanya bertanya-tanya bagaimana setiap tim memberikan dan menjawab harapan-harapan dari dirinya sendiri, dari timnya, dari para super fans untuk berada di babak playoff. Nyawa terakhir untuk Dewa United hari ini benar-benar harus diperjuangkan. Mereka sudah mendatangkan 2 mid laner baru. Apakah itu akan menjadi jawaban? Karena dari yang lalu pun kita sudah melihat 2 mid lane ini cukup menjanjikan. Tapi perombakan di minggu-minggu akhir tentu itu akan sangat challenging untuk tim Dewa United. Di sisi lain, tim RRQ yang sudah memegang tiket playoff, upper bracket, dan tinggal berjuang untuk juara regular season, mereka bisa bereksperimen dan menunjukkan jati diri mereka lebih dalam lagi, lebih hebat lagi. Ini adalah pertarungan yang dinantikan. Bagaimana nasib Dewa United? Akankah tertutup atau akan melanjut? Dan sebelum kita melihat bagaimana pertarungan dari kedua tim ini, izinkan Bude mengingatkan ke kalian bahwa acara ini begitu meriah karena super fans yang telah hadir di sini dari Kingdom yang lagi happy. Kingdom, hello! Wajah tersenyum semuanya, happy semuanya kelihatan di MPL Arena. Tapi Dewa United juga terus harus semangat. Anak Dewa, mana semangatnya? Masih penuh pengharapan tentunya bagi tim anak Dewa dan juga tentunya MPL Indonesia season 15 begitu ramai karena powered by Moonton, supported by PBSI, presented by official turnamen smartphone Samsung Galaxy, official dari e-wallet GoPay, official dari sponsor Head and Shoulder, official coffee partner Good Day dan juga partner ini Sports. Ada Telkomsel, Dunia Games dan IndiHome bersama dengan advertiser Kacang Sukro dan juga Hokben. Tak lupa supplier kita RSP Helmet. Dan banyak sekali tentunya yang mengharapkan dari anak Dewa dan juga Dewa United. Mereka berharap bisa memperpanjang nyawa mereka, masih memiliki harapan. Namun di sisi lain, tim RRQ dan Kingdom mereka ingin menjadi juara dari regular season. Dan bersama-sama sambutlah, inilah dia match pembukaan di hari yang ketiga. RRQ dan juga Dewa United.
Will RRQ be crowned the regular season champs and, eliminate Dewa United out of their playoff run? Or can Dewa actually fight for their survival here at MPL ID Season 15 at the final day of Week 9? You guys are watching the English broadcast with me, Eterna, alongside with Mirko, as well as Arashi, as we're going straight into it. RRQ versus Dewa. What do you think?
Yes. To answer your question, I think yes.
2-0?
I don't know what score it's going to be, but I think it's going to be an RRQ win. Unless RRQ decide to play Chen. Because then there's going to be some differences definitely. But I think, again, any jungler you put in RRQ up against Dewa United, it's already going to be a win for RRQ because they have such a solid 4. The other 4 players are so solid. And Dewa, on the other side, we don't even know who's going to be playing in each role except for maybe. Like maybe is the guarantee. Everybody else can rotate.
That's true. We've seen a lot of shifts coming through from Dewa, so we're not really sure what lineup we'll be seeing today. But what we do know is the next 2 matches after that opening match. We have Onyx versus EVOS and Navi versus Geek. And like Bude mentioned up on stage earlier on, every match win, again, will be very telling to how things are going. Because again, EVOS at number 7, looking to find some points to make sure that they still will be able to make it to the playoffs.
Like you were mentioning, Eterna, the standings right here for the regular season, you can see that it's still very toe-to-toe, especially in the middle area of the standings. So honestly, I think match number 2 is going to be the most impactful and the most intense as well, matchup-wise, because we've seen both these teams have a bit more of inconsistencies, right? Everyone else you kind of get a feel for so far at this point in the season, but for Onyx and Evos, man, sometimes you don't really know what really to expect from both these teams.
Essentially, Onyx are the gatekeepers right now, right? So
Yeah.
long as they continue to get points, it will be very difficult for both Evos and Dewa to climb out of the red zone. Considering we only have 3 more slots available for these teams to make it to playoffs. Only 3 secured, 3 left. Who will it be?
Dude, all Onyx needs to do is beat Evos and then they're done. Like, Evos will not be able to make it to the playoffs, and all Onyx needs to hope for now is for RRQ to beat Dewa. Because if RRQ beat Dewa and Onyx beat Evos, we have our 6 teams, I believe, in MPL Indonesia Season 15 playoffs.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Wow. So everything will be decided today, essentially.
Potentially.
Unless Evos and Dewa win, then we're like, oh,
Whoa!
another week, I guess.
Okay. But for those of you guys back at home, we want to know what you guys think. Last hope for the playoffs. How do you guys think Dewa can get a win against RRQ? Do you think A, play with better structure, B, give maybe free hit space, or C, screen Dyron's movements?
Oof.
What do we think?
It's a rough one, man. I feel like these are all things that can work, but the odds, man, you know, we say possible, right? But the odds, bro, it's a whole different story. Even if they do screen Dyron, for instance, let's humor this possibility for a bit. Even if they do get Dyron under control and shut him down, what's stopping Ida from popping off? You know, what's stopping Rins from going in and making the plays happen? The fact of the matter is, RRQ are one of those teams that have multiple win conditions. So you can't have a single win solution here if you're in Dewa's position, which is why it's such a tough situation to be in, and we all feel for them.
Absolutely. And that's why it's going to come down to this. Rise to the top versus escape from the red zone. We mentioned earlier on, if RRQ wins, they will automatically become the regular season champions. Meanwhile, if that happens and Dewa loses, they will be officially eliminated from playoff contention. So both Navi and Dewa will be eliminated if RRQ wins. We're seeing some patterns from MPL ID Season 12, and it looks like Dewa have been unable to find a win against RRQ for the past 3 seasons.
Well, in Season 13 there you see one glimmering beacon of hope here for Dewa. They have to try and turn back the clock back 2 seasons to try and replicate that same kind of performance. But again, it's a whole different situation. And we still have to focus on Dewa before that. With so many members, I mean, look at the poster right here. That's a whole army. But only 5 can be fielded. Which 5, right? Even in RRQ shoes, are you even concerned about which 5? Or do you feel like you can brute force any single combination that Dewa can come up with?
I think because they have too many options, it's actually it's a negative thing for Dewa. Like, Dewa have just looked out of shape in the last few weeks, especially in the match against BTR. Up against a very greedy draft of BTR, going for Chip, Loyi, and Moskov. With no early game, with a Fredrin XP, they still lost. And they had a big goal lead too. I really feel like this team right now, it's looking like a team that is so, it's like a week 1 Dewa, you know? And week 1, actually no, week 1 Dewa was actually pretty good.
It's like mid-season Dewa.
It's mid-season Dewa that has shifted back and forth with their MDL lineup, with Rez, with too many factors moving around.
So with that, let's see what you guys thought for Dewa earlier on. It looks like 55% of you
Structure.
think that they need to play with better structure. What does the structure mean?
They voted for the most vague answer.
Exactly.
That shows you.
Exactly.
Even the people back at home were like,
Huh.
yeah, structure, sure.
Yeah.
Structure in the plays, structure in the decisions, structure in the composition,
Lineup?
structure in the drafts, structure in the execution, the laning, the jungling, the neutral objective contest, the late game teamfight positioning.
Wow, that's a lot. That's literally everything.
structure.
That's literally everything. So we can say that Dewa are the opposites of Geek Fan.
Oh,
Yeah, they start off real strong. They're an early starter, but then they fall off. Geek Fam, they are the slowest starters I've seen in my life. Actually, Navi
Well, they
started
never
pretty slow too.
they never
Yeah, they started and ended slow. But maybe they can end on a high today by beating Geek Fam.
Well, you know, going back to that structure,
Okay.
we've been talking about Dewa and how they're swapping their rosters here and there. We've seen, you know, Spencer come in, Kesu come in. Maybe there's even an option of Azura back then. Okta, is he going to be playing? Meanwhile, for RRQ, they have a mid duo that has been standing strong for 2 seasons now. And we've been seeing that impact and how well they've actually been able to progress together and journey together. And that's why these 2 players are on the watch list for this match. We're looking at the stats. They are one of the highest statistically proven mid duos we've seen this season.
And when people make an argument that, hey, synergy and all that, that's not a real thing, you know? If you just play and you get better. But I think you can immediately point to Edok and Rins to disapprove any kind of statement like that. Because these guys, once they showed up, you saw the coordination, the communication as well. And they've tried different kinds of decision-making, shot-calling methods. And so far, regardless, when the 2 of them are actually on the same team, they all really it just flows so much better now. With time, RRQ has even improved and added on to this combo. But in the core form of RRQ right now, it was always Edok and Rins that initially caught our eyes and brought in that special new form that RRQ were trying to achieve back when they were reshuffling their composition and their roster.
For me, it's not actually Rins. For me, it's Edok and Dyron. The 2 guys that I feel like are just the centerpieces, the guys who can change the game. Rins is more like, you know, just the shot caller, yeah, but he's more of just the diversion, I will say, for the rest of them to make plays. Mainly, again, Edok and Dyron to play make and to change the game. Like we've seen back to back to back. When Edok doesn't get a power playmaking hero, we saw yesterday Badang, Dyron get a 3-man set against Alter Ego to turn the game around. So again, these 2 are ridiculous.
It's not as one-dimensional.
No.
Because usually we say, like, let's say Key needs a playmaking hero, but, you know, in RRQ, even if Edok doesn't, Dyron is always there and available to pick up that position or that function role.
Yeah, because I think, again, RRQ, as long as they have tools available to really exert their will onto their opponents, they've always been a team that knows what they want, right? And they're able to actually find ways to get what they need in the Land of Dawn. We talked about the combo between Rins and Edok, but again, right now in the current meta, with the playmaking being such a big, impactful factor, that's why Dyron and Edok is also a great combination. As long as both of them aren't really put on picks that can't really do anything, that are just forced to play passive or even reactive, I think RRQ is in a good spot. They always need one of them to kind of be aggressive, to have things, to have skills and opportunities to set something up. When we've seen that when Edok and Dyron are both on something that wants to stick around, stand around and wait for an opportunity, they don't really do that well as a team, right? So they need that catalyst, you know, that starter of the engine.
But let's play devil's advocate here. How do we think about RQ and their structure versus chaos that we've seen teams find success on? Is that something that Dewa can actually utilize against RQ today?
I think it's possible. I think we've been pretty fair in saying that RRQ is a very textbook team as well, especially in the early game. They have this very neat way of playing Mobile Legends, and usually when things get kind of scrambly, that's where we see the mishaps happening. But again, that's against some really high-level teams, you know. Dewa, okay, they can bring chaos, but how controlled is their chaos? Because even back then in Season 14, we talked about Team Liquid ID being that controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing their own thing, but with the same picture in mind, and somehow it reconnects, it reconverges. I'm not saying Dewa can't do that, but the odds, bro. Chances are that's really not something they want to rely on.
Yeah, and I feel like that whole chaos thing can only work when you're already super coordinated. I think for Alter Ego's case, the way that they were able to do it yesterday was they got their own comfort pick, which was great, and then they were able to execute because it was all their comfort picks, and because they've been playing together as a team without changing a lot, only RP in the gold lane for a while now. For Dewa, it's not just that they want to be chaotic, they are already chaotic. I don't even know what's going on management, coaching-wise, because, dude,
Oh, right.
handling 5 dudes, like handling 5 players is already very difficult. Now handling 3 coaching staffs has been rotating as well, and then handling another 4 players that has been shifted with Rez joining in, with swapping out for Rizzo, Vans, Hooray, Spencer, Kesu. This is wild, yo. The last time I saw a team like this was season 13 RQ. The Dewa, the RQ that was beaten up by Dewa in the first leg. That was when they had 10 people in the roster. They just went back and forth.
So now the shoe's on the other foot because Dewa United are going up against the potential regular season champions. We're looking at the roster right now. It looks like it's Sorizo, Ray Spencer, Kesu, as well as maybe. Will they be eliminated today, or can they look for yet another chance to get to the playoffs?
Dewa's last hope, their last stand up against the Kings of Kings. They have to win. They must win if they want to continue contending for playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dewa United Esports.
Quite literally do or die right here. Up against overwhelming odds against the team that is fighting for the title of regular season champions. This is where they have to make their stand and bring everything they have in the back burner.
All the pressure on their shoulders right now, going against this team. You're right, it looks like Chen will be filling that jungle position. No Sutsujin with Dairen, Rins, Edok, and Toy. Will this be a different story now?
Welcome the youngest member of the royal family, Chen, to MPL Indonesia, standing atop the mountain, looking down at their foes. It is the Kings of Kings, the most dominant Indonesian team in Season 15, RRQ Hoshe!
Coming in the critical moment with a replacement. Is this a show of confidence? Is this overconfidence? Only time will tell. That's definitely a curveball for RRQ, for Dewa to react to as well. Let's see if we can see any hints of surprise coming in from the coaches.
Yeah, I think it's a curveball to everyone, right? We're not expecting any changes, especially now that they only need one more win to secure the regular season champions. And what's it gonna be? I guess this is Keskute, right? In moments where they think that they should be able to secure a win, we've seen him give playtime to players, new players, to give them a little bit more experience under their belt to help that regeneration process happen for RRQ. But we don't really know much about Chen. What are his heroes? Does he play assassins? Is he a utility jungler?
With my limited knowledge, as far as I know, he plays assassins pretty well, but I'm not sure if his hero pool is anything special to speak about. Before that, we have got to speak about the battle of the Jinins in the gold laner here. Toy and Maybe. Number 1 in the gold lane average assists is Toy. Maybe number 13, so that stat in particular is definitely quite a discrepancy right there. Maybe really hasn't really been able to find so much success, but again, this is season 15 where the gold lane is important, but the gold lane also relies so much on the rest of the team to try and make something happen.
It really seems like for Maybe, he's always kind of been, from the start of the season, the glimmer of hope for Dewa United, but Dewa, instead of playing towards him, has kind of gone on their own path of playing, swapping the rosters again, trying to play for the trio mid. It really always seems to be trio mid. Meanwhile, we see a lot of teams go with the flow. Alter Ego, they knew that, all right, we should stop playing the meta game. We should start playing our game, especially as we get towards the end of the season. I really hope Dewa United can start doing that. Play for Maybe. Just, at this point, play for your strengths.
Because if they're trying to fight for the trio mid, they're going against a trio mid that is already well established. We're looking at the stats once again for the Kings Initiator, Edok, number 1, number 8, number 6, number 2. But he's been playing a different kind of game for a lot of the games this season. Like, he can play pickoff style, he can play AoE, groundbreaking plays on the Tigreal, he can play the Francos, he can even play the chips really well. And RQ's captain here, Rins, has done a really good job at also accentuating that kind of style. He's also been able to play the Zas. We've seen him on, the long-range heroes, the artillery heroes. He's also been able to play the Valentina, the Luo Yis really well. That flexibility is something that I don't think Dewa United have right now.
Definitely not, man. RRQ, they've made a mark for themselves by being able to have such a wide hero pool here, especially with Kescute utilizing it to its full potential. Here, their keys to victory here by the Samsung Galaxy S25 series. Chen with the farming patterns and neutral objectives, especially if his team can back him up. And Dyron getting a signature playmaking hero. But honestly, for number 2, you can replace that with Edok as well. And that's where the puzzle begins for Dewa. Do they want to be concerned about this new addition to the jungle? Or do they want to still put a lot of necessary respect onto the EXP lane and the roaming position for RRQ? For them, they have to explore Spencer's hero pool, and Faramis will be a good choice, especially if they can maybe bait RRQ to picking up that glue. We've seen that being a great counter. Screening on Diamond's movement as well, especially in the objective contest. We know that the EXP lane has so much to say in the initial neutral objective fights. They are the lane closest to the objectives after all. Again, with RRQ playing a very textbook style, Dewa might be able to read into it and maybe set up for some kind of ambush, some kind of rotation to take advantage of what they can expect already, the textbook style from RRQ.
Now it really comes down to how RRQ will want to play the game, right? I mean, does Chen go to the MPL heroes where he plays those assassins, the Lings, or does he just play the RRQ style where... what is the RRQ style in the jungle? It's been weird. With Tsuzujin, it's been more Joy and Hayabusa, but for Hazel, it's more Suyo and Hayabusa. Oh, Kescute, big yawn there. Could it be that he's exhausted? The regular season already, Arashi. Now, he's actually seems to be a pattern with my GOAT Kescute.
Will this be
number 1
his third
regular
season?
Huh?
Will this be his third season?
This will be his third season back to back. The regular season top of the leaderboard. He did it first with this guy, Sorizo, in season 13, by the way. XBTI.
Yeah. The regular season GOAT, Kescute. Is it a sign that is he...
Let's hope he has learned from the last 2, because he has been like improving.
Yes.
4th place finish, 2nd place finish this season. Right? He's number 1, exactly.
What? Okay,
Yeah?
What?
interesting.
What did I say?
What a curveball.
Huh.
Oh yeah, Kescute, is that yawn a sign of exhaustion? Is it a sign that he's been pulling an all-nighter?
Or
trying to
maybe-
figure out Dewa?
He's sleeping on his opponents.
Oh.
Feels very typical of Kescute though, to really overthink things and work really hard. So I think he's just tired.
A hard worker, Kescute.
Hard work, yeah. We're looking at the team head-to-head now between Dewa and RRQ, and obviously there's a stark comparison in terms of the statistics. What about the most pick and ban heroes?
I think immediately you have to take note of the Fanny. This is a known quote-unquote problem for RRQ. And for Dewa, they don't have the same kind of issue, right? They have a very able, presumably Fanny player on their roster, so that has never been that big of a deal for them, right? They would be willing to contest, to trade for some of those heroes. So now, that's like one thing they have against RRQ technically. But again, everything else aside from that, you can see that the chips, these macro tools is something that a lot of different teams have been respecting against RRQ. The textbook style means that, you can kind of plan ahead, and planning ahead on heroes like the chip, like the Luo Yi, is almost as important as the execution.
All right, we're getting to the drafts now, ladies and gentlemen. Dewa have first pick, RRQ have second pick. We saw the statistics earlier on. For Dewa, it's looking kind of bleak on both. With the changes coming in from RRQ, will we be expecting differences in the drafts as well?
I think knowing Kescute, he's definitely going to use it somehow, but I don't think we have a good read on what and how exactly he's going to use it for. I mean, now with a new addition Chen, is it going to be more flex picks that can go to the jungle potentially? Is he going to hide that jungle pick and confuse Dewa, force them to over-respect it? This is the tricks that we're talking about. He has a lot of cards up his sleeve.
All right, let's get straight into the drafts now. Presented to you by the official tournament smartphone Samsung Galaxy S25 series. Dewa take out the Phoveus. RRQ go for the Sakura, so Kalea banned out.
Juicin as well, so they're not going to be taking Alter Ego's approach. Alter Ego's way to play against RRQ was, alright, you get your comfort, it's fine, we'll get ours. They will not do the same. They'll ban out the Juicin. They will not get Rins on the Juicin. Kimmy still getting banned out by RRQ. This has been a trend now for RRQ. They just really don't like the Kimmy.
Although the Fanny we talked about earlier is still up on the table here. Definitely an interesting situation. I wonder if RRQ are trying to find countermeasures to try and deal with that without expending a ban potentially. One more ban for both these teams right here. Presumably it should be the Fanny, but also the chip that was also highlighted hasn't been shown. And the Lo Yi is still an option that I don't know if Dewa can use.
Dewa, Spencer. He's only played the Jushin so far, I believe.
Yeah, only the Juicin so far. But dude, when you say Chip and Dewa in the same sentence, I'm like, oh my god, I just remembered what happened to them when they went up against the Chip in leg 1. It was the, why would you recall? There's a shortcut right there moment. Oh man, so they banned out the Moscow. Maybe Bombi's like, alright, last time you were up against the Chip, yesterday, or on Friday, Bigotron stole the Chip away from us. Now it's our time to play the Chip because they have left it open, wide open. And I don't think you want to give Edok a Chip unless you're really crazy with it. There you go, finally. Dewa debuting their Chip.
Yeah, debut on Kesu. Utilized the Gatot earlier on, but RQ backfire with something of their own. The Gatot plus the Valentina.
Seen it before. Gatot against the Chip is a thing. Able to contest ground in a 1v1 situation. Also able to counter engage onto the shortcut, especially again with the lack of reliability now in the full-on catch with the shortcut tool. Not to mention, we've seen teams find better ways to utilize the Valentina when they are able to steal the shortcut. We've seen teams follow through with the initial opposing team shortcut and then use it again, so they can get essentially 2 shortcuts. So we'll have to see. Along with that, the mobility for the Valentina and the Gatot is going to be so important because we've seen teams against a Chip, they want to have some kind of dash, some kind of gap control tool to make sure that they can get away from the initial portal so that whoever comes through the portal of the shortcut can't really go for a full-on engage, and that's where the Fredrin might come in here, might allow Dewa to try and catch a few stragglers.
Yeah,
Where do you think the
Ranger,
Fredrin's gonna go?
Jungle. Right?
Are you sure?
Sure about that?
I mean, well, they haven't picked it up in the EXP lane yet.
Luke did it, BTR did it,
That's
but
true.
I agree. I think it's gonna be in the jungle. I was messing
Who's to say they can't take inspiration from Mr. Luke himself?
Yeah, that was the team that beat them on the Fredrin XP. That's true, with the Chip and the Moscow, not Granger though. That's the difference.
Is that why they banned the Moscow? Ooh. Okay, moving on from these conspiracy theories.
I mean, Joy got banned by RQ, so they're also considering that option.
Yeah, actually. Interesting. Well, the Novaria followed through very fast from RRQ. It seems like they have some kind of plan here. No Harith as well. Against the Granger, back then at least, the Irithel was something that comes up occasionally. But I feel like Gold laners now have found a way to deal with the Irithel pick. We haven't really seen it being as decisive in the 1v1 laning phase matchup.
I think the thing about the Granger is right now, there's not really a lot of counters to it. Moskov, Harith in the past has been a great way to deal with the Granger, but if you are able to solo or to get a lead in the early game, a big one, especially with the Sky Piercer, it becomes really tough for RRQ to actually, for any team actually, to deal with it. So, it really is all about how to catch the Granger then. Franco gets banned out. RRQ will probably go for Irithel or Claude then?
Or they just wait, go Badang first.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. They can go Badang. They can, yeah, the Badang will be good.
They can go Tig as well, technically. Technically, for that AoE madness, but maybe a bit more of more spammable utility will be great here against a team like this, like Dewa, that wants to go all in. It is going to be the Badang though. Right now, Dewa forced to show their final cards early here. Against so much AoE, surely they would want something more to assist their team fighting, right? Some AoE damage, AoE crowd control tool will be great.
But what are we looking at here? Because the Valentina's on the other side. Because they're
Low-
still
low Yi?
lacking. Oh,
I'm thinking low Yi too. For
that makes
Dewa.
sense.
Yeah, everyone's so close range from RRQ. They're gonna be stuck to each other with the yin-yang effect.
You can't go Yi, you can't go Farsa here. Usually we see the Sicilian against the Valentina.
Yeah. Against the Badang Suyo too, just that range. God thought would be good to go for a pure front to back composition, but that means they're gonna go Hylos as well. Something
is
like it
that
in the XP. They go Esmeralda and the Yve with the chip. Esmeralda, alright, battle ready, sure. Yve. This is gonna be a front to back that's gonna be weird because it's a front to back that kind of wants to gank and like pick people off.
Well, off the bat, I'm immediately looking at the lack of engage tools. They have the Taunt on Fredrin and a Falling Star Moon, you know?
Yeah.
It's not really a reliable, quick engage tool when you're coming through the shortcut. Now that they have the Yve, maybe, real-world manipulation, but it's only gonna stop them for a little while, and
Yeah.
it's already a very mobile composition that RRQ have to begin with. Speaking of mobility, I don't know if they're gonna be able to catch RRQ even with the shortcut.
But they go 1-1 here into a real-world manipulation. That's range over the 1-1. I was thinking that they would go for something like the Claude, but I guess Toy did do the exact same thing yesterday, and it was okay.
It was pretty good. The thing is, the 1-1's really good against the chip. That's something you gotta note down, right? The chip tries to go in and you shoot your skill 1 while also purifying out of the stun, and then you can actually get a free crossbow attack.
So it's safer.
It's pretty safe, while also being able to dish out ridiculous damage in the early game. Yve will be a problem, but RQ already have a way to deal with it. With the Valen, with the Gatot, they can just fully dive on the Yve, so... RQ.
So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The final stand for Dewa United. With a completely new lineup, Esme debut with a chip as well. Will it be enough to secure this first game, to lead the series, to still make it, to still have playoff contention against RRQ, potentially? The playoffs are already in front of their eyes, potentially the regular season champs.
At this point, they're just fighting for being #1 on the standings. They've already secured upper brackets. Ray, Impure Rage instead of the Concussive Blast. This is going to hurt quite a bit in his clear speed.
Interesting, especially against a Suyo, right? That in theory can clear so much faster here. RRQ are definitely taking note of that. Looking at the rest of the emblems, it's a lot of Impure Rages
They're
coming
angry.
in from Dewa. It's a bit of a statement, but for RRQ, that means that they have a lot more variety in ways to sustain for utility. I mean, Riz is going with the Quantum Charge as well. He wants to get an extra bit of movement speed. He's planning on being up close and personal.
Yeah, as expected though. No level 4 Edok going to be caught will be First Blood to Ray. So he'll get a bit of XP and gold in his pockets for that play. Ooh, Rinse? Alright, it's not going to go for it.
There's a little bit of trades and damage here in the mid lane. We see Sorizo actually pathing to the mid lane as well, trying to allow Ray to pick up this Lethal Wanderer. Sorizo gets chunked a little bit, but look at this, Rinse, very low.
Right, both teams back away. Dewa able to get the lethal. Actually having a bit more pressure here in the early game. That's a good roam from Sorizo as well. A bit of an underrated aspect of the Esmeralda is the roaming capabilities, because you're pretty quick. You know, you have a built-in movement speed boost here. So let's see if Sorizo can have that much impact over Dyron, because it has to be on that movement speed and roam speed. When it comes down to the full-on fight impact, Dyron on a Badang is going to have so much more.
Oh, she trying to go for the flank here. Edok having the angle. Chen, Queller, Falling Star Moon locks him down as a taunt into the back as well. Ray going to be changed CC by Dyron as he goes for the fist crack. Chen looking for the rectory, will be able to find it, but will fall to the hands of Sorizo as Ray falls to Dyron. AOG to lock Sorizo down as Itoshi Kesu takes the long way around. Sorizo taunted, chain CC pinned down, but look at that sustain.
He's gonna get caught out. He's actually going for a little bit more here. He gets caught to half, but he's already done his job. At the end of the day, RRQ are the ones to secure the neutral objective despite them having to trade for their own jungle. I think that was really great setup from Dyron.
It's also a great effort from Chen there. He's walking up to the neutral objective, trying to go for the retreat while under fire. And he took it with below a quarter of HP left. He's gonna be jumped on by Itoshi Keshu though.
Uh-oh, Chen already used the Blade Surge. They're gonna try to lock him down. The RWM comes down, but it actually only finds Ito, who's gonna be caught. Hasn't taught, will get taken out by Spencer. RWM in a weird angle. Dyron taken out by Chorizo. Crossbow attack dealing nothing. Chorizo's just standing there on a signature pick.
Beautiful skirmish coming in from Dewa. 1,400 gold lead. You can see that maybe he's been able to get a lot of gold there in the gold lane. Toy now just will be able to get into that lane to try and look for the clear. But all in all, Dewa, really, really good job.
Yeah, man. The ambush from Itoshi Kesu there, staying in the bush for a prolonged amount of time just to ensure he gets the surprise onto RRQ. And I think RRQ kind of scrambled into that fight there. We saw that weird angled, stolen real-world manipulation from Rins. Wasn't exactly ideal. So, talking about the chaos here, Dewa is definitely bringing it up against RRQ. And for now, 92% audience prediction here for RRQ.
Are you surprised?
Not really. Let's be real here.
It's the Kingdom.
But with Chorizo doing so well here, this is the problem, man. When everyone's grouped up like that, he is so tanky, and he's doing a lot of damage deceptively, right? Esmeralda actually spams out a lot of spells, so you can't really afford to leave Chorizo unchecked, but there's so many other people, other heroes on the map that RRQ have to worry about.
That's why they're going back to the keys to victory for Dewa, right? One of which was screening Dyron. The fact that Chorizo has been winning the lane, having a little bit more resources to play with those 2 kills, look at what he's been able to do.
Oh, Chen. Chorizo's really bullying this rookie. And he takes the orange buff of Chen. Now Ray's the one ahead of Chen.
So it's not just Dyron that he's been able to screen, he's also been able to bully Chen as well, doing a lot right now. You can see that they've been able to buy some time for Dewa, a really good way to get that attention for Dewa to get this neutral objective.
Lead off. Over the taunt. Ray comes in. He's looking for the taunt as well. That's going to be the flank in the back with the shortcut. Itoshi! Kesu with the crash course, the one who finds a turtle somehow. Rince got Chorizo! Falling Star Moon on 2! And now it's Soy who's going to be ran down. Crossbow attack ready, but it does no damage to Chorizo as he stands there, watches, and lets the rest of Dewa take control. Dyron gun down. One last shot. He's able to flicker out to safety. No death to Sonata.
This is a lack of damage from RRQ right now, and the lack of AoE. But every single time there was a fight, Dewa are just really using Chorizo to bully everyone away. He is literally single-handedly zoning out the jungle, the gold lane, and the frontliners of RRQ. And they just don't have enough damage in the early portion here to really expend onto the frontliner. If they do, you saw earlier Spencer, Ray, and maybe just spring into action, trying to trade back the damage. So they are really putting everything onto this Esmeralda strat, and it's been working great so far.
It has, and we don't really see a lot of anti-regen items, only the glowing wand coming in from Rins. Thunderbelt first for Dyron. Do you think that he could have adapted a little bit more? Wait a second.
We use the Blaze Surge shortcut, gonna be coming down. It's a full gank on Chen! They really don't like this rookie. 0-3-1, full priority on Chen.
It was a 2-level gap in the EXP lane as well, so things are looking good for the Kingdom right now. The young prince here not doing great as the Kingdom is crumbling under Dewa's 7,000 gold lead, and they're looking for more.
Toy. Chorizo's gonna look for the read. Oh, he finds it too! Toy, half HP taken away already. Toshi Kesu walks up, baits out the needle. And now it's just Dewa running RRQ down.
Dude, Dewa are really reading RRQ at every single turn. It's not just the execution and the draft that's giving them a bit of a lead here. It's also the fact that every single time RRQ are attempting some kind of maneuver, Dewa always seem to know exactly what is going on there. The dive on the Chen, the read from Chorizo to get Toy as well there. Oh, Rins.
Oh, that was a pretty questionable call, my friend, but it was the only call they could go for. Chorizo really just going for the dances. Falling Simon locking 2 members down. Spencer has an RWM. But this is all just a diversion so that Ray Tribution on the Fredrin can find a shortcut coming down. Edoff gets the AOG in time.
Back to the long grind, and look at Dewa. Literally moving in the jungles of RRQ. Not concerned, not checking the bushes. Not enough danger just yet. Dyron gets spotted out here, might be caught.
He should be okay.
But the turret won't be in the bottom lane there. Maybe Remember, Sorizo and Maybe are the ones with the highest gold lead over their respective opponents in the lane. Almost 2,000 when we saw it earlier. Now probably way higher.
Yeah, he's picked up the Oracle now as well. 501 KDA.
Yikes.
He's been a monster here. With everything on the line for Dewa, their playoff contention up for question. It looks like they're pulling out everything in this game against RRQ, and it's working wonders. 9,000 gold lead and counting. We see Toy actually forcing a DHS as well. Will that be enough to turn things around for RRQ?
Not just yet, especially again with the Oracle available for Sorizo. Already with the Dominance Ice before that, he's just way too tanky. RRQ are gonna have to wait for some really strong like mid-game power spikes. They need at least the core items to be completed, so the first 2 or 3 items have to be purchased for RRQ to even begin to really be a threat for Sorizo. Otherwise, okay, he's not even running Purify and he's walking up like this. There's just nothing they can really do.
I mean, technically they have catch, right? Oh!
A dive onto 4. Sorizo gonna be caught. The combo tank gets locked down, but Sorizo does not care. Gets transferred over to Ray. RWM from Spencer. Edok walks away from it, but the turret won't.
That turret's gonna fall. Rins earlier picked up a wrong ult, so the IMU has already been used up. We're not going to be able to utilize the portal or even the RDWM. Perhaps he's looking for it, but this is not what we were expecting. 10,000 gold lead for Dewa. They're on the next neutral objective here. I don't think Chen can contest. He's 2 levels below.
Whoa, Edok wants to go in, gets a taunt, and the AOG locks him down now, but it's not going to be coordinated right. Edok going to be taken out. Again, the Sky Piercer up the Granger. Too much to deal with. Maybe gets the Executor stack as well. Kesu and Sorizo are doing a good job. Sorizo really does not want Chen to get anything in the jungle. They want to take the orange buff again.
Man, they are trying to make RRQ pay for fielding, you know, someone new against them. Making sure that they understand, like, dude, we can't be taken off that lightly, but shortcut.
Chen able to blade surge away, luckily.
Alright, in the bottom lane though, the turret's gonna be falling from Dewa, so RRQ getting a small addition there. Every single other lane has the turret still standing untouched pretty much. 10k gold to go. Dewa with the better siege potential with the Yi and the Rager. Oh, almost getting a catch there. But this is the problem. There's no one to actually go for Dyron or Edok to kind of target with the pickup as well.
Charge into the mid lane. Holy Defense is going to be proc everywhere on the map except for the bottom lane.
Still standing right now. You can see Rin's actually picking up interesting Starlium Scythe.
Yep. Let's find a bit more burst damage, more true damage there. That's where the Quantum Charge makes a bit more sense as well.
Hey.
Now, ooh, Dewa.
Charging on the falling star move. That's just Rhapsody damage on Chen. And I guess Void Blast from Spencer, but you can see the poke, the siege, the range of Dewa United. Luckily, RRQ here still have a bit of power themselves to defend.
And that's why the 1-1 into this lineup coming from Dewa was a big question. They're going all in.
Not too sure about this. Oh, shortcut into the midst of it all. The crush scores! 3 members stunned up! Crossbow of Tang, but it does nothing. Spencer, RWM, toying to be caught again. That's Sonata ready for maybe. He goes on Edok. The AOG gets him out in time. Tyron in a 2v1 gets away somehow too. Oh.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're seeing that RRQ are still looking for opportunities to look for that groundbreaking one-moment play against Dewa, but for some reason, Kesu seems to be aware of that. So every time they do that, there's always a counterplay.
Oh. Tyron has the fist crack. He's gonna have to save it there. The Queller doesn't land. RRQ forced back.
And Apropo will be forced away by Dewa. But again, Chen, I do agree. It's the fact that Dewa have an extra frontliner with the Fredrins, right? So they have so much more frontline to predict, to screen for both Dyron and Edok. And on top of that, because there's already 2 strong frontliners that can take a lot of damage from Dewa, it enables Itoshi Kesu to not be seen, and all he does is wait around near the portals, somewhere unseen, goes from behind and always looks for the counter engage. That's exactly what happened in the previous fight as well, and that's where the draft really works here. Seems like RRQ don't really do that well against teams that have a lot of overwhelming counter engage.
Brother, that is a 4,000 gold lead on the hands of Chorizo, and
Yeah.
he's the first member on Dewa to get level 15. In a meta where usually the XP is the second roamer, Chorizo says, let me get back on my carries.
Oh boy. Seen the Esmeralda before, but this is definitely a great game for the Esmeralda as well. Look at this though. Itochi Kesu still on the far side. Araki looking for something. Chorizo though just stands there, dude, menacingly. And RRQ can't really afford to stick around too long either.
He knows he can. Look at that. Really good zoning coming through. I don't think they can go for the contest again. Chen is still a level below Ray. If they want to go for the 50-50, it's still going to be very difficult. We're seeing Chen focusing on his own buffs instead. And that's going to be a Lord bursted down and fallen into the hands of Dewa here in the 14th minute of the game.
Free take for Dewa United. Taking things very slow now because, I mean, they have a 10,000 goal lead. There's nothing to rush, and they're the ones with a chip.
And they're the ones with the superior siege tools as well. Gasanadas, real-world manipulations as well. They have all the range to work with when they're trying to force RRQ to concede some of these base turrets. They just have to make sure they don't mess up and don't allow RRQ to get the jump onto Spencer and maybe. As long as it's always onto Chorizo or Ray, those are both heroes that kind of do well when they're actually under fire.
Wait, look at Edok.
He's looking for a flank. Possibly trying to go on Maybe. Conceal already to the back. Will not be able to find Maybe there. The Quilla does land, but Maybe is able to disengage, and AOG will be used defensively. Chen trying to survive. The shortcut comes around. The crossbow tank gets transferred over to Ray, but the Itoshi Kesu Immortality won't survive. Zyron caught inside the real world manipulation. Rin's forced to flicker out. Down below, Toy trying to do his best to clear it out. Edok with the top. Falling so from Chorizo. No follow-up, taking things super slow. Chen very low, the base is wide open. They're gonna go for it right here. Game one for Dewa United. A stompy stomp, 9-1.
Wow. A huge upset for the Kingdom here in game number 1 in this best of 3 series between these two teams. Chen, unfortunately, on his debut, will have to concede this first game. With a remarkable performance coming in from Chorizo on the Esmeralda, it looks like Dewa backed into the corner. The fangs are out. The claws are sharp as well as they're looking to claim their victory here in this match.
I mean, we should have known, RRQ should have known that Dewa are angry about this. The 4 impure rages, man, it was a sign. Dewa going to what works for them. Not really caring about what's meta, what's being used by the other teams right now. They played their own style and it really confused RRQ. That was a dominant first game. And it's a clean one too. Barely any mistakes made by Dewa there.
Super clean by Dewa United on the chip. And I guess it happened, man. The damage overloaded. The 1-1, the Gatot pick. I don't know. I didn't really think it was a big problem for them. I thought they would be able to execute it still, but yeah, no, Toy was bullied hard in the lane by Maybe every single time, so no kill threat in the early game. And I think the miscalculation on how much damage and how tanky Esmeralda was shot them in the foot there. Turtle won. Like, even Chen was just walking in and he's like, wait, my health bar's gone.
Because it's deceptive, right? You don't see it go down, you see it turn white.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm still in the fight, right? And Esmeralda takes the shield
Those are
away from
dads.
you and you're like, wait a minute, wait.
Oh, yeah.
The Esmeralda.
Right? And that's first, we might see it later. This is a bit later from the moment I'm looking for. But the one fight on top where they were able to catch Chorizo 1v3, and Chorizo is like, you fools! You're stuck in here with me, I'm not stuck in here with you.
It was a really awkward RWM as well from Rins in that potential skirmish.